Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United 1, Atletico Madrid 1. The magic of the Champions League. I don't know what was magical about that. I think I'll watch Harry Potter tonight after this because I wanted some magic and I got no magic. But I suppose the positive I would say is that we have still got a very good chance of going through in the next round having played comfortably crap. I mean, that was absolutely diabolical, and I suppose it's a reflection on how bad Atletico Madrid are this season, because I think any team half decent would have destroyed us tonight. They would have won that game 3 or 4-0. I don't know how we're in the game with 10 minutes to go to make it 1-1. So look, I can't say fair play to Rangnick. I can't say fair play to most of the players. I just think we're massively fortunate. Well done to Elanga. Good pass by Bruno. But apart from Lindelof and Elanga and, you know, a couple of players who played badly because they didn't get a lot of the ball, like Sancho and certainly Ronaldo. I mean, I think Ronaldo mouthed that shit as he walked off. And 100%, you know, 100%. If we'd have lost that game, you'd have had La Liga fans all over us going, I thought our league was rubbish. And they've probably got every right to say it still, even though they didn't beat us. They were comfortably better than us, and we were comfortably really, really disappointing. And the thing I want to say from the very start is something I said after the Leeds game, is that our football club creates this. They're a theme park. They pick favourites. And basically, when you're a theme park football club like we are, but you're shit, no one wants to watch your theme park or come to your theme park. So whenever we have something positive, they're desperate to get people looking at the theme park. Somebody said it the other day that when Man City beat Sporting Lisbon last week, there was hardly any social media posts from Man City. We beat Leeds and we're putting 40 or 50 out, because that's the prats we've got at this football club. They banter us. Don't ever say it's the fans. The club themselves banter us. They overhype any positive result and set us up for these sort of performances. And we're very lucky it's a draw. But I wouldn't be surprised if United socials turn this into a positive. We fought over in Madrid, we go again, and all this bollocks. We're just not good enough. We're just not good enough. And the person who knows it more than anybody is Ronaldo. He knows we're not good enough, and that's why he's frustrated. But we've got a good chance of getting through at Old Trafford. That game means nothing now. There is no away goals, so it's basically a draw. We may as well have not played it. It's now everything to be played at Old Trafford in 3 weeks, and I'll take that. I'll take that. I want to stay in the tournament as long as we can. But you know, you've got to look at performances individually tonight, and you've got to say that the favouritism in this football club, it's not even a joke anymore. It's certainly not a conspiracy. I mean, Harry Maguire cost us the goal. I don't think he was particularly shit after he cost us the goal. I thought he was average, but he's already cost us a goal. And at this level, you've had a crap performance, Harry. You know, you can't go, well, I made a few blocks and headers after that. At this level in the Champions League, you can't afford to do what you did on that first goal. So I'm sorry, you've had a crap performance. Rashford, I don't even know. This is a player I like. I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to go on for. Like, he can't pass. He's shooting from 35 yards. You know, we moved. Make this make sense to me, right? Player ratings, link in the video description. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. Make this make sense to me. Victor Lindelof's man of the match, right? I thought he was man of the match against Leeds. He's definitely man of the match tonight. He's man of the match against Leeds as a centre-back. We put him at right-back to accommodate Maguire, who cost us a goal and nearly cost us the game. He's still man of the match. So we're moving a better centre-back than Maguire to right-back to put him in the team. You've then got Jadon Sancho, who, yes, we bought to be a right winger, but is actually playing on the left because our left wingers are shit. He plays on the left wing. He's our player of the month. He's our player of the month on the left wing. We move him to the right wing to bring Rashford back to the left wing, who's crap. We are accommodating crap players and moving good players out of position. Make that make sense. Sancho's playing off the right when he's been brilliant off the left and has actually forged a relationship with Ronaldo and Shaw and Bruno. And we move him to the right. And Lindelof, who's a bloody centre-back, we put him at right-back. This is why I don't want Rangnick to get the job. Because he's weak. He's proved himself to be weak. Or not strong enough. Because he wanted a midfielder, he didn't get one. He wanted Lingard go, he didn't. And he's putting players out of position to bring players in that most fans suspect are being picked for non-footballing reasons. I think Maguire gets picked because he cost 80 million and he's the captain. And I think Rashford gets picked because the club think he's better than he is at the moment. And it doesn't make sense. And we're very lucky. We're very lucky to still be in this tie at Old Trafford. But we're not going to keep getting away with this. We've been on about this for 2 years. We're not going to get away with not having a CDM that's good enough and picking these players on favouritism. At some point, again, in the very near future, if we keep doing it, we're going to get our arse handed on a plate. Somebody is going to batter us very, very soon because we are nowhere near good enough. And we cannot, over the last few weeks, if we're honest with ourselves, we cannot say we're playing well. Against Burnley, we didn't deserve to win. Against Southampton, we didn't deserve to win. Against Brighton, they played us off the park for 45 minutes and we won because they got a man sent off. And against Leeds were just battered by Liverpool. Absolutely battered. We only beat Leeds because we brought Fred on and he scored. Like, we lost a 2-0 lead. We're not as good as we think we are. And you know what? The club have a massive part to play in this. Stop picking players who aren't good enough just because you've backed them with huge amounts of money. And also, stop hyper-bowling bloody good performances. What happens if we beat Watford on Saturday? Are we back to winning the bloody league again? We've got to be realistic. Too many players lacking character. Absolute cowards, says Benjamin. Thank you for making the match a Premier League versus the Liga thing online. You can do that with City, not United. Now you've embarrassed us, says Rex. What are you talking about, you tosser? Screw it, swivel on it. What are you on about, Rex? Did we lose? We didn't lose. What are you talking about, Rex? Shut your gob. Get back in your kennel. Also, we have generational talent in Alenga. We saw a lot of racial abuse at him after the cup loss where he missed a penalty, but today he showed what he can do. Ronald, in relation to Alanga, we shouldn't be looking at Alanga in any other way than promoting a young player. He's not 25, he's not 22, he's a young player coming into that team and we need to be patient with him. He scored 2 good goals in his last 2 games and he's got us out of jail tonight. In sharp contrast to MUFC, all Athletic were tough mentally and physically. We need some manscape and show a pair, says Ranyik ain't all that, says Muzzy. And hey Mark, what do you think of Matic showing why we need a dominant CDM, says Zed. Look, Matic for 20 minutes was fine. Absolutely fine. Much better than Fred. We're also lucky that the goalkeeper, Oblak, his angles were shit on that goal. Absolutely terrible. For a goalkeeper of his quality, we're very lucky because if that's De Gea, that's an easy save. But I don't care. We are lucky tonight. The finish was a bit lucky. We've been lucky tonight. But one of the big problems with United is, let's take it back to the first minute. First minute, stupid header by Harry Maguire, corner. They didn't score from it. Bruno giving the ball away constantly. Pogba giving the ball away constantly. Fred giving the ball away constantly. We can criticise Maguire, we can criticise Rashford, you can criticise Ronaldo, you can criticise Shaw. But the midfield lost the midfield battle. They were abysmal. And the problem is, it's not just one problem with Manchester United. You can carry a bad performance in a team. You know, there might have been somebody for Liverpool tonight who didn't play particularly well, even though they stuffed Leeds. I doubt it, but there might have been. You can carry 1 or 2 bad performances, but you can't carry that many performances. And what massively confuses me is that whether you've travelled and took your time and spent your money to go to Madrid tonight, or whether you've got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or whether you're watching it in bed on your phone whilst you're watching bloody The Apprentice, whatever United fan you are, you would have had a level of excitement like I did for that game tonight. Massive level of excitement. It's the Champions League. You know, you want to go and win and you want to go and, put in a performance. And I think even though we're really lucky and we got a draw, I feel deprived. I feel embarrassed. And I feel like that is not exciting. I've been looking forward to this for weeks. It's the Champions League. I love the Champions League. And that was an embarrassing performance from the players. And you've got to keep questioning this. You know, we hide behind the dressing room unrest and players not getting on with each other. Maybe it is that. Maybe it isn't that. Maybe it's just that they're crap. But I tell you what, and I'll shout him out here because I don't think he's particularly good. But where I will shout out Scott McTominay, and it's not really a shout out, but it's an example of the problem, is we've got a few players in our team who will give absolutely everything who aren't good enough. And I think McTominay and Fred probably fall into that category. Fred was crap tonight, but he'll always give everything. McTominay will always give everything. We've got players in that team who will give everything that aren't good enough. And we've got players in that team who are good enough but don't give everything. And it's a bad mix. It's a very bad mix. And I keep mentioning the 94 team, so let's mention the 99 team. You look at the 99 team, whether it's Beckham, Giggs, Keane, Scholes, Neville, Stam, Johnson, Irwin, Schmeichel, Cole, York, Sheringham, Solskjaer. They're all really good players who give everything. And this is where this football club is going wrong. You can't, some of our fans hype up players who give everything. Like McTominay gave everything on Sunday. You saw the things on his ankle. But is he good enough? No. In my opinion. But he gives everything. You've then got other players like Rashford at the moment who are good enough, but for some reason they're not giving everything they can. We are in trouble because if you want to be a Liverpool or a Man City or even a Chelsea, you need 11 players who are good enough and give everything. And we haven't got 11 players who are good enough, and we haven't got 11 players who give everything. We're in a bloody mess. That's the problem. And it was highlighted again tonight. How can the fan base be excited about this game and the players put in a first 10 minutes like that? Nobody played well in the first 10 minutes apart from Lindelof. It was a terrible start. It was a cold start. Now, I don't know whether you put that on Rangnick. He is the manager. I don't know how much you put on him. Maybe not a lot because the players have been doing this for a while. But I didn't like what Rangnick said, even though it made sense in the press conference. He said this game will be won at Old Trafford. And now it will be. But did the players take that as a reason to go into the game coasting? Because they didn't start the game off very well. One of the other problems we've got is that, look, I don't want to talk long term. We've got to stay short term. Spurs lost tonight. That probably knocks them out of the top 4 race again. It's between us and Arsenal. Arsenal play tomorrow. So, look, we could get 4th place again. But 4th place gets us back in here next year. And we ain't good enough for this tournament, are we? Let's be honest. We're not nowhere near good enough to win it. Hopefully we can get through to the quarterfinals. But I'm very scared of the next 18 months because, Ronaldo's walking off looking pissed off again. I think he'll leave if this carries on. Pogba's going to go, obviously. Cavani's going to go. Whatever you think about those 3 players, they're 3 of the best players we've got. Whether they perform or not, they're 3 best players that we've got. 3 of the best players we've got. You look at your Wan-Bissakas, your Luke Shaws, your Marcus Rashfords, your Scott McTominays, your Freds, your Harry Maguires. They're not going anywhere next year. And they're the players that this season, you the fans have been saying, I don't know whether they're good enough. So we're going to keep the players that we don't think are good enough, and the players that are good enough, they're going to go. And this is what worries me about the next 18 months. I find it actually concerning with the club. Rangnick plays what the club wants, then he is able to make subs and it improves and works, says Liam. Ronaldo needs better service, but no excuse for being sat on the ground when he could get back in position and maybe have a tap in last minute, says Josh. The Lindelof experiment would have worked better if he'd put him as a CDM where we have no one, says Danan. And Stephen, thanks for the super chat. Want to talk about favouritism? What's Ronaldo done for the team? Also take him off free kicks. He always hits it into the wall. Fred, I'm going to give you a little bit of a... Maybe it's the real Fred. I don't know. I'm going to give you a little bit of a story here. If you're a striker in a team like that, you're going to have a shit game. I don't care whether you are Sergio Aguero, bloody R9, Lewandowski, Gabriel Batistuta, Alan Shearer, Gary Lineker. I don't care what level of world-class striker you are. You put them in that game tonight, you're going to have a shit game. He never had any service in that game. Yeah, you can judge him. You can judge him for his link-up play. You can judge him for his hold-up play. But a striker in that tournament, the best goal scorer there's ever been in that tournament, has to have service. And yet again, 2 years on, we're still talking about the graveyard shift at United. It is absolutely abysmal how many chances we create. And I tell you what, say what you like about Atletico Madrid, but against those defenders, for Ronaldo, you're going to have to put good crosses in the box. And we just don't do it. McTominay is good enough for a rotation player when played as a box-to-box, as Andreas. I hope Lindelof doesn't play right back ever again. He did a good job, but doesn't deserve to be thrown around, says Sudan. It was a bad decision, I think. I just did the player ratings. I think it's been infested with trolls. What are you people thinking, says Ovidel. Well, links in the video description if you want to have a look at the player ratings. We'll do that in a moment. I'll certainly give you mine anyway. We've also, well, look, I just want to, just before we do the player ratings, I just want to go through some of the comments that I had from the game that I wrote down. I do feel that Rangnick probably came into this game with too much focus on the second leg, and maybe that fed into the players. I don't think that's necessarily Rangnick's fault. I think it's the players' fault. But if you know, one thing I would say about these players is, Robinson says, if your phone charger doesn't work, no matter how much you paid for it, you will go and get a new one or use your old reliable one, not to try to force the new one as the phone won't charge, says Robin Crusoe. Very, very true. But I mentioned this in the game. About 3 years ago, Ollie was the interim manager, and we're about the time now where a certain Mr. Ferdinand was saying, get the numbers, write it down, give him the contract. And they did. And as soon as Ollie got the job, the players down tools. We got smashed by Everton. We didn't get top four. And I seem to think we lost to Cardiff or Huddersfield. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? And I said at the end of that season, I don't trust these players because they got Mourinho the sack. And then they played well for 3 months under Ollie. And then they couldn't be asked again. The mentality in this squad is shit. I said this 3 years ago. I don't trust these players. 3 years down the line, I still don't trust them. They're not capable of doing what needs to be done. And in the previous 3 years, we've lost semi-finals. We've lost the final in the Europa League. We've bottled things. We have a weak mentality in that football club. 100%. And I think Rangnick made a mistake because he probably didn't realise when he said in the press conference, this game will be won at Old Trafford, he basically was putting the message out to everybody that this game's not that important. Whatever happens in this game, it won't matter. You cannot do that with these players. You cannot give a hint that they don't have to put in full effort because they won't. They can't be trusted. They need a kick up the arse. These players need a kick up the arse. We'll probably get a very different United at Old Trafford because they'll have a kick up the arse. We'll probably get a very different United on Saturday because they've had a kick up the arse. But you trust them and you make a mistake. And I think Rangnick, probably in his naivety, doesn't understand that with these players, you've got to give them a kick up the arse all the time. We can't put a decent cross in, says Darren. So, yeah, I think that was a little bit about it. I've spoken about Rashford. What did I think about the substitutions? Well, what did you think about the substitutions? So he took Lindelof off, who was man of the match. He took Pogba off, who didn't play particularly well. And he took off Luke Shaw, who didn't play particularly well. So Shaw for Telles, no problem. You can make 4 or 5 subs in the Champions League. Pogba coming off for Matic. I thought that worked quite well. Wan-Bissaka for Lindelof, I think that's just favouritism. I mean, for me, Lindelof should have gone to centre-back and Maguire should have come off. It's just pure favouritism. Why you'd take your man of the match off in a game where they've just brought Griezmann on, it can only be favouritism. But maybe that's where Lindelof plays now. He has to get shoehorned into the team. Matic gave us stability in the 20 minutes and we scored. So very similar to the weekend. I thought Rangnick's substitutions weren't terrible, but I also think he had an eye on keeping it to 1-0. I think Rangnick will never admit it. Those substitutions were not made to make it 1-1. That was about shoring up the defence to keep it to 1-0. And we got away with it. We got a 1-1. Alanga for Rashford should have happened a long time before, and Alanga took his goal really well. But I thought the substitutions gave us more stability, which is what they were made for. And it was very telling that, when we're losing a game 1-0, he brings on 3 defensive-minded players to keep it tight. So I think Rangnick was worried. So I think I'd applaud his subs ultimately because I think he was worried. I think he thought 1-0, we've got a chance. If this goes to 2-0, we might be going out at Old Trafford. And he ends up getting 1-1. So, but ultimately, the manager's got to take some responsibility here. Some people talk about giving the job to Rangnick full time. I know Adam said it as well. I can't get on board with that train. I like Rangnick. I love his press conferences. And I think he's a really, really clever, intelligent football man. But already we've seen his weakness. And I don't know that he's a weak person, but he's been overruled. It's weak to keep picking Maguire. It's weak to keep picking Rashford. It's weak to not get a midfielder in. It's weak for Lingard to be kept. And it's weak because he's been overruled on those. So I don't want a manager that keeps doing the same things that Ollie was doing. But then again, the next manager's probably going to weak. There was a moment where Ronaldo said, "Stop crossing, I'm the only player in the box," says Sanjay. I feel like I should apologise on behalf of all America for the way the Glazers are running this club, says Stephen. And also we've got, as a Chelsea man, I've noticed Chelsea standards drop while Man United standards rise this season. Draw away in Madrid is a wonderful score. There is a slow but undeniable improvement under Rangnick, says Space Cadet. You must have watched the game on the BBC website, mate. Mark, how we turn on our players. I remember games where Wan-Bissaka put in tackles to win us games. Delo still hasn't done anything amazing and we skate Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Don't think anybody said anything about Aaron Wan-Bissaka, George. So, interesting take because I don't think anybody said anything about Wan-Bissaka tonight. The distance covered stats are horrible. It's just not acceptable to work as hard as those players do, says some. And I agree to an extent about Lindelof, but he had to come off as he was on a yellow card. He got it wrong in the beginning, but the sub saved him again, says Lil. And Alexi, thank you very much. I think we're very lucky tonight. I thought the substitutions gave us some stability. I don't think the substitutions were why we made it 1-1. I think Atletico Madrid were their own downfall, really. The defender should have stopped Elanga and Oblak should have stopped that shot. Well done, Elanga, but I don't think you can put that down to tactical substitutions. I don't think those substitutions from Rangnick were to try and get a goal. I think they were trying to stop them scoring a goal, which it did. It was they were container subs, and we were lucky to get a goal. We're very lucky tonight. I would never lie that we weren't lucky tonight. I think every United fan who watched that game knows we were shit. For the person who said what Ronaldo's done for us this season, he's the reason we are in the Champions League, says Raul. And if the board can bully a German man with cojones, will Ten Hag or any other top manager be able to have authority? We are doomed, says Sarath Fitness. And how did Delo and Wan-Bissaka feel they got benched for a centre-back in their position, says Ryan. I mean, it's a separate thing to talk about over the next couple of days, I suppose, Ryan, but I don't really understand what Delo's done. I mean, Delo didn't come on for Lindelof tonight either. I think Delo's been really good. Dropped at the weekend for Leeds because I thought he'd start tonight, and then dropped tonight for Lindelof and then doesn't come on for Lindelof. So I don't know what Delo's done again because I thought he was doing really, really well. The reason Rangnick doesn't sub or drop Maguire is because he doesn't want the scrutiny with dropping an English player who captains Manchester United, says Emmanuel. It's like he tells them to do nothing in the first half and then go and play in the second half. Aidan, we didn't play in the second half. Let's not pretend we were second half FC. We were last 10 minutes FC. We were shit in the second half for 20 minutes. I sometimes feel like Simeone doesn't know what he's doing. He took Joao Felix off while he was the most dangerous player on the field. We were lucky, says Alec. And there is UEFA Nation League international games in the first half of June. Is Gareth Southgate a board member, says Dean Thomas Crawford. Right, we're going to do the player ratings. Let me just refresh them and we'll go through it. I think they're going to be a bit odd. So maybe just focus on what mine are tonight, because I think we've had some problems with trolls and stuff, so they might not reflect what the true ones are, but I will go through the player ratings. Please smash a like on the video, by the way, bottom right hand corner, and subscribe, bottom right hand corner. We've got the fan forum after this. Look, positives, we're still in the tie. Positives, Spurs lost to Burnley. Positives, Watford got smashed by Crystal Palace. Positives, we're playing Watford at the weekend. You know, ultimately, we'll probably come out of this week with 2 wins against Leeds and Watford and a draw away to Atletico Madrid. And on paper, you'll look at that and go, that's a good week. But in reality, I think there's massive, massive problems. We got our 1-1 as I hoped for Monday, Mark, says Simon. And also, can you explain to me why we keep trusting in players like Rashford and Maguire in this team? What more do players like Elanga have to do to demonstrate they're ready to start for the team, says Omar. Well, look, you know what? I might be miles off on this, what I'm about to say here. Start Tellez and bench Shaw, says Pablo. I might be miles off here, but I did a video last week comparing Tellez and Shaw this season, and there's not really any difference. So why is Tellez not starting on Saturday? And Elanga is better than Rashford, so why is Elanga not starting on Saturday? And Lindelof's better than Maguire, so why is he not starting on Saturday? It'd be very interesting to see the team on Saturday, because are we just going to keep picking these English players, hoping they score goals or get assists? Or are we actually going to do what needs to be done? Because I tell you what, on Saturday afternoon, we should be going to IKEA and having some Swedish meatballs, because we should be playing Elanga and Lindelof and dropping Maguire and Rashford. But it won't happen, and this club will never move forward whilst it is a club that keeps picking people on non-footballing reasons. And we're doing it. We're doing it all the time. We're picking people on non-footballing reasons. It's as simple as that. Matty says he doesn't think Rashford is good enough. In relation to Marcus Rashford, he's a player I really like. I cannot get my hat on why he's so bad. He's so bad. Did you see that bit in the second half? We actually had a bit of space. He's 35 yards out from goal. He's dead centre. He's got some space. Shaw's overlapping. There's another couple of passes. There's no Atletico Madrid player near him. What does he do? He thinks he's going to score from 35 yards out. And that scared me. That moment scared me. It's almost a moment that if his career goes downhill, I'd look at that moment and went, that was the moment I realised Rashford doesn't have the football intelligence that he needs to have. Because there's selfishness and there's stupidity. And that, to me, to shoot from there, I hope it was selfishness. But even if it was selfish, it was stupid. Because you're not going to score. If you hit that shot 20 times, you'll be lucky to score one. 35 yards out, I don't care who's in goal. You're not going to score. And we're 1-0 down. And there's 25 minutes to go. And you've got an overlap and you can get closer to the goal. You should every day be passing that and moving forward. There's space, move it, move into the space. And I thought, you know what? What does Rashford need to do? Stop running into blind alleys and losing the ball. Stop playing bad passes. Stop shooting from distance. He's not learning. He's just not simplifying his game. I really don't think Rashford is good on that one, Matty. And there we go. Right, let's do these player ratings. Don't take a massive note of these ratings. Just take a note of mine. I think these are going to be all over the place. So David De Gea tonight. I don't remember him making a world-class save. I'd probably give him a 6. That's about right. I don't think he did anything wrong. There's nothing he could have done on the goal. And I thought that, it was a reasonable 6 from him. Lindelof, I'd probably give him a 7. Some have given him an 8.2. He was my man of the match, by the way, Lindelof. I mean, you could give Elanga man of the match for scoring the goal, but Lindelof across the game tackled well. I mean, for the first half, he was the only player that came out of it with any bloody credibility. So, Lindelof for me would be man of the match. Harry Maguire, look, I don't think Maguire was crap in the second half, but he cost us a goal. And at this level, this is the pinnacle of domestic football. This is the pinnacle of world football, really. Club football is better than national football. And, if you pay £80 million, this is it. No rants. This is it. What is the problem with Harry Maguire? He's got a band on his arm he shouldn't have. Okay, a lot of us agree with that. The problem with Harry Maguire is we've spent £80 million on a player whose only real asset is heading the ball. And when a cross comes into your box, if you're spending £80 million on a defender, you expect that defender who's good in the air to win the ball. The problem is he's too slow. He doesn't read the game and he's not quick enough to cover his mistakes. So João Felix ends up with a free header. We're paying £80 million for somebody who's good in the air and he can't get on the end of crosses to defend them. So for me, I'll give him a generous 4, really. I mean, 2.3 is too low, but I'll give him a generous 4 because that goal's on him. And that's in the first 10 minutes. And you're the captain. Organise your back line. Varane, probably... it's hard with Varane. I mean, he looked shaky himself in the first half. I'll probably give him a 5.5, so I'll give him a 6. Nah, that's wrong. That's not right. That's wrong. I don't think he was. I thought he was good in the second half, but I'd give him an average 6. Luke Shaw probably gets a 5 for me. Bloody hell. Okay. Fred, he got better when Matic came on, but I mean, again, you talk about that shot from Rashford. First minute of the second half. We've had a terrible first half. You need to get going in the second half. The ball comes in to Fred to play a 1-2 with Lindelof. He gets it. He plays it first time. It's miles ahead of Lindelof. It goes out for a throw. And I'm like, I could have played that 1-2. He's under no pressure. It's a simple give and go. And he passes it out. So for me, Fred was crap. 5. Pogba, 5 as well. Look, I know they're getting very low scores. You know what? I want to talk about Pogba because I really like Pogba. And I think it's a real shame the performance he's put in tonight because he's definitely enthusiastic. He's definitely knows in the summer he's free. He's got lots of options and he's been playing like that. And I thought, well, he's played well against Southampton. He's played well against Brighton. He's played well against Leeds. This is in the Champions League. Real Madrid will be watching. PSG will be watching. He's bound to put in a big performance in a game like this, and he puts in a performance that's a bit like Pogba in the past, inconsistent. So I was surprised by Pogba today. There was no excuse for it. His touch was bad, his passing was bad, and it affected him bad. So yeah, I'd give him a 5. I'd give Bruno a 5 as well. I thought, good assist, but the defender should have intercepted it. And again, his passing was crap as well. Mark Ralph said that he wishes some other players could learn from Elanga's drive to play well. I'm glad he's calling some players out, says JJ. Mark Lukshaw is a bit, not talking about weight. Rangnick should be starting with Elanga and Rashford should be coming from the bench to make a difference, says Darub. I agree. Turns out Ricky was right about Rashford. Looks like the beginning of the end for him. Well, no, I still think he can come back, Cantona, but he's terrible at the moment. Let's take a minute to appreciate Matic. He changed the tempo of our midfield, says Amir. Thank you very much for the super chat, Amir. Okay, let's carry on with the player ratings. Right, we got, Rashford 2. Yeah, I don't like giving low scores like that, but you know what? Even though it's a player I like, I've given Maguire a 2. I've given Fred a 2. I've given McTominay a 2. I think I've given Martial a 2, who was one of my favourite players. So I've got to be consistent. I failed to see anything that he did good. The passing was terrible. The shooting was terrible. The crossing was terrible. The tracking back was terrible. I think he got a yellow card. It was terrible. And I tell you what, certain ex-players, if Marcus Rashford with French, wouldn't shut up about it. And, it needs calling out because you've got to be fair and distribute the criticism as well as the praise properly. And I think Maguire and Rashford in the media just do not seem to get any criticism compared to the way that people like Pogba and Martial have in the past. Jadon Sancho, look, I'd probably give Sancho a 5. But, yeah, he didn't play well. But again, I'd go back to making it make sense. Why is Sancho being moved to the right wing to accommodate Rashford? Sancho should just be kept on the left wing. It's where he's been good. Why move him? Ronaldo, again, I'd give him a 5 as well. 6.2 for Ronaldo. I'd give Ronaldo a 5. He was below average. Yes, he's in the graveyard shift, and that's a big, big thing. But you could see by his frustration, he's getting very pissed off. This is a tournament he wants to score goals in. He never got a good chance to score a goal. And look, Ronaldo's used to losing games. He's used to winning a lot of games. He's used to winning trophies. He's not won trophies. But one thing he won't like is running around for 90 minutes and getting no service will piss him off. I called it at half-time. He will get more and more frustrated in this game because he's getting nothing. And I'm sure as he walks off, he went that shit. Because he knows he's playing against Atletico Madrid. There's a bit of history there. It's a quite hostile thing. He just wants a chance. If he misses the chance, it's on him. But if he doesn't get a chance, he's going to be pissed off. And he gets no service again. And this is happening too often. Not getting chances. Wan-Bissaka came on and did okay. I'd give him a 6. No problem with him. Telles came on. He did okay. I'd give him a 6. Matic came on. He did alright. I'd give him a 6. Elanga, give him a 7. Scored a goal. Got us out of jail. Lingard, I barely noticed he was on the pitch, so I'll give him a 5. Rangnick, this is really interesting. What do we give Ralph Rangnick, everybody? I don't really know what to give Rangnick tonight. I need to have a little bit of a think here. Just because the ratings don't line up with yours doesn't make them wrong. You always say this is the best way to rate players because there are thousands of votes. Sean, we had trolls on them. People were just whacking in 1s and 10s for Lindelof and Ronaldo and then 1s for everybody else. The player ratings do work well, but, as I said, they've been messed around with. So, sit down, calm yourself down and listen to what I'm saying. You are spot on. Ex-players won't talk crap about English players, says Jazz. Should we be starting Elanga over Rashford from now on? Yes, Elliot. I remember when people were comparing Rashford to Mbappe. Mate, I said it 2 years ago. I felt he was one of the best left wingers in Europe. And he was. Ralph was telling Sancho and Rashford to swap sides and they didn't listen, says Kevin. Yeah, they didn't swap sides hardly at all, did they? No, I'm not saying swivel on it to Sean. What I'm saying to Sean is I said right at the start, I love our player ratings. I think they are great. And the reason Sean's getting in an arse is because I said, let's not take any notice of the player ratings tonight. Just focus on mine. And Sean's took that as me saying, I'm not interested in your player ratings. But I've had our website guy saying he's looking at the back system and we had a shitload of votes in the first 6,000 that were 1s for loads of players and 10s for Lindelofs and Ronaldo, which clearly shows they're not accurate, and that's what I'm saying. So, you know, if you want to look at them and go, yeah, they're accurate, that's up to you. But I'm telling you now, they were infiltrated by a lot of people who were doing those sort of things, which are not proper scores, are they? Lindelof was not a 10, Ronaldo was not a 10, and half of our team, like Pogba and Bruno, were not ones. So, you know, I think they're a bit off tonight, was what I'm saying. If you want to take them as red, that's up to you. But I'm giving you a little bit of background to it. And also, okay, so look, what would I give to Ralph? I'd mark him down for picking Maguire and Rashford. I'm fed up of it. I'd mark him down for not making subs at half-time. I'd mark him down for not moving Lindelof to centre-back at half-time and putting on Delo or Wan-Bissaka, because I think that would have helped. I probably would have brought Matic on at half-time as well. I think Rashford should have come off sooner. So, but also, on a positive, I think the Matic, Wan-Bissaka, Telles substitutions gave us more stability. I think we're very lucky not to lose the game, and if we'd lost the game, I think Ranić would have got a lot of stick. So I'd probably just be a little bit generous and say that, look, we're still in the tie, I'll give him a 5, but you've given him a 3.1. Man of the match, Victor Lindelof got 64% of the vote. Ronaldo got 29% of the vote. So I don't know how, and Alanga's ended up with 3. And then various others. So, yeah, they're very accurate, Sean. I don't think Ronaldo was man of the match tonight, to be fair. But and he shouldn't be getting that high of a score. But the reality is that Lindelof is man of the match, and he deserves it. Lindelof does deserve man of the match. So. Yeah, very, very well. I'm happy for Lindelof that, you know, I felt Lindelof was man of the match against Leeds, and obviously it got given to Sancho. And again, you know, make it make sense to me. Man of the match against Leeds gets moved to right back, where he hasn't played for fucking years. Is man of the match, whilst the centre back where he should have been playing nearly cost us the game. Make that make sense. You know, Lindelof should be starting for Manchester United, but Lindelof should be starting for Manchester United in the defence. I think Lindelof and Varane will work very well. And I think Lindelof at right back, accommodating Maguire, very nearly cost us the game. Simple as that. Simple as that. And I don't think many people could argue with it. But you know what? Let's finish on a positive, because I'm pretty sure the players in the club are going to be tweeting out a lot of positivity. The positive is that we are still in the tie. The negative, I suppose, is that we're lucky. But, you know, it's a bit like Spurs tonight, isn't it? And maybe Arsenal tomorrow night. We might get top 4 because there are other teams shitter than us. Effectively, we've got to draw out this game because Atletico Madrid didn't put us to the sword. Anybody who watched that game, you know, I've got people on my WhatsApp who don't support United saying, you must be over the moon, you're so lucky not to lose that game. Maybe that's the way our season's going to be. Maybe we'll get 4th place and we'll get, you know, maybe quarterfinals of the Champions League because teams are worse than us. Which isn't, it's a nice feeling, but it's not a great feeling that you're only getting where you are because teams are shitter than you are. But look, the game's open. It could have been a lot worse. We're still in the tie. I want to be in the draw for the quarterfinals, and I suppose that's a positive to take. Anyway, let's see what everyone's got to say on the fan forum. I'll push you over there now. Thanks everyone for watching tonight, and look, Watford comes up again quick on Saturday. Speak to you all in a bit.